that first 7 days of taking the first IV shot, I felt like every time my heart beat, it was sending out a freaking radio wave that people could feel. And I told myself after getting the second one, I said, I can't do anymore because everyone I know is going to think I'm on steroids or something, you know?
When you talk about that this kind of regenerative medicine and this therapy is not just for professional athletes, like that means something. And when I talk about it to coworkers and just friends and family, you know, we're basically all normies, you know, like that's what it is. It's like we're corporate workers, we work at nonprofits, we are musicians, you know, and everybody needs it to prolong, you know, what they love doing.
Hey everyone, this is Dr. Mark, the Stem Cell Doc, bringing you another episode of the Stem Cell Doc podcast. Today, I'm so fortunate to have two patients on the phone that I've had the pleasure to meet and know over the past, it's probably been over a year now, and they want to get on the podcast and share their story with everyone, and hopefully try to inspire people. So let's welcome to the show Charlene and Daniel from California. How you guys doing?
Very well.
Good. Thanks so much for having us, Dr. Mark.
See you.
It's my pleasure. I wish you guys lived closer. I think you are the people that I would hang out with, you know. So you know what? If you want, just tell me a little bit about your story, like how we met and why you sought out, you know, my help in regenerative medicine.
Maybe I can just caveat this with Daniel and I are friends. We've known each other for about 4 years, and I wouldn't know you if it weren't for Daniel telling me about you, and then proceeding with the treatment earlier this year. Well, just in May, actually. But so I'll throw the baton to you because this is,
Okay.
Thank you for introducing me.
Thanks, Daniel.
No worries.
You're the man, buddy.
Hey, my name's Daniel. I live in California, Daniel Trout. I'm a construction worker. I've been in electrical construction since 1999. Had a wild decade in my 20s, like, I don't know, most guys that came from where I came from. And in my late 30s, I started noticing, you know, the effects of aging, and I started some protocols to try to reverse that and get my energy up. Hot water bathing with Epsom salt, minerals, whatever I could get my hands on, cold immersion, to try to recuperate as much energy as I was giving out, because I started to think, hey, I'm burning my wick out doing my job, and my body can't recover all that damage before I put it in the fray again and damage it some more. And so I'm slowly getting cut down. And that was where my mindset was before I found Devin Larratt. I saw him on his podcast maybe, I don't know, 2 years before you guys worked together. And when I saw him get destroyed by Levon's, it's really,
ouch.
I mean, that guy's got balls of steel. Like, I love that about Devin. He'll go in and fight anybody. But he went and he got his arm all tore up, and I was like, okay, he's done. And then he talks about getting stem cell therapy treatments on a podcast or a video or two later.
Yeah.
Within like 3 months, he's arm wrestling for his weight class championship against Prudnik, and it beats Prudnik with a destroyed arm.
You know, the behind the scenes story, with that, you probably know this, is I saw Devin less than a month from the Prudnik match, and he had a tear in his biceps. And I'm not sure anybody thought he would be able to even compete with Prudnik. And when I was watching the bout, all I was doing is going, please don't tear again, please. You know, because it was too soon. It was less than 30 days. And I got to tell you, what he showed the world was amazing. I mean, he dominated Prudnik, and you would have never known that he was injured. So amazing story. And I'm so glad that you got to witness that too.
I did. That turned me on to the idea. But what really sealed it for me was watching Devin's behavior over the months after that, after the Prudnik match. And I just saw his energy explode. He was kind of lethargic and overweight and slow going into the Levon match. And then I noticed from there, he started getting younger. He was hitting the road. He was flying everywhere. He's doing lectures and just doing his thing 100%. And I'm like, man, this guy's getting younger. So not only is this material healing his damage, but it's actually reversing the clock. And it linked into that philosophy that I had kind of found in my own mind, that you need to be replenishing as much as you're giving out before you give out again. And that's how you stay flush with health. In my industry and in my mindset, I was giving away everything every day, trying to get as much work done and then going in before I'm fully repaired and doing more. And I said, man, this is it. I started thinking about, okay, I want to try it. I want to try the stem cells. I had some money set aside from an inheritance I got from a family member passing. And I decided to try it. I came up with, I had to walk through some like my own psychological, what would you call that, hesitancies. I'm like, man, what's going to happen? Am I going to do this and I'm going to grow an arm, or it's not going to work for me? It works for everybody, but
there'll be two Daniels out there.
Yeah. Am I going to regret having the treatment because a part of me wants to be able to heal my condition on my own and or whatever, like, and I walked through that for probably 2.5 months before I figured out that I was going to try it. I said, come what may, I'm going to make this decision. I have the money. I don't think one's going to be able to give me enough information to make a judgment. And so I'm going to do two. And that's how I started. And that was last year, probably the end of March 2023.
Yeah.
I called you. And we got it hooked up, and I got the 2 treatments, and I can't, it's so difficult to explain exactly what goes on. But I felt that stuff moving through my body, and man, that first 7 days of taking the first IV shot, I felt like every time my heart beat, it was sending out a freaking radio wave that people could feel. And I told myself after getting the second one, I said, I can't do anymore because everyone I know is going to think I'm on steroids and something, I don't want to change too quickly because I come from like a really kind of timid, like not as open-minded family. And I'm like, oh gosh, what are they going to think I'm doing now? So I did 2 and stopped. And just kind of wrote it out. And I noticed specifically for me, I had these like stressed red gums. I had smoked for years. I had long since quit, but I had these stressed gums and they were like a darker red. And I noticed, the receding gum line started to grow back. And not only that, but they started to get flush pink. And I would sit there in the mirror and open up my mouth in the mirror and look, and I just couldn't believe the transformation. For me, the first 2 shots were really like up here. It was a lot of issues that I had going on from my dental history, and man, I was shocked. I was shocked. I oh dear Lord, I couldn't imagine. I was like, where else can you spend this kind of money and get this result? Like, it's the best. This is the best deal on the planet. I'm certain of that. And I tell people, like, everything that I was searching to find and the things that I was intuitively doing in my life, I got from those shots. And it just dawned on me. I was like, oh my gosh, I was looking for a way to regenerate my health so that I could, make another go at my life. And it gave me that. And I was just, to me, it got really spiritual. I was like super humbled by the whole thing. And I was just like, oh my goodness, now that I know, I could essentially get one of these a year and not have to worry about pushing my body to the limit in my trade, out in the hot sun, up on roofs, under houses, working all day long, sometimes all the way through the week. And it's not always easy to get the best of food at times. And there's just always something needs to be fixed. And it just gave me this confidence that I can achieve the goals that I have and not be a withered, beat up old man when I complete them. So I can't even enjoy it, and just recently, telling Charlene, like, I don't know, what was it, 4 months ago now, like, hey, you got to check this stuff out. Like, this stuff is the real deal. And then us going to see you in May and me having my third from that IV shot. So I had a total of 3 IVs. And after that third one, I mean, I had bone. I mean, it's got to be bone because it's hard. Form in between my sutures here. I noticed all different kinds of changes in my skull, as well as postural shifts that I don't think were possible unless my body had the cells to support all that shifting and all the removal of toxins and this and that. Like, I'm blown away. That third shot, dude, I feel fantastic, man. Like, it's unreal. And I'm so grateful. And I think to myself, like, one of Devin's crazy videos where he's on his porch and he's like, oh yeah, look at my arm. He's just flexing them on. Who is this crazy dude, man? Why am I getting this on my feet? And he turns out to be the guy that leads me on this path. And I'm forever grateful to him and to you for how I feel. And I try to
my pleasure.
Listen.
It's been my pleasure helping you and watching you literally transform, and quickly too. The cool thing is, what people don't know, Daniel, is we have facilities all over the country. You took advantage of that. You hit up one that was close to you, then you hit up another one, and then I think you went to the best one last. Not to brag, but I don't know where that was, but I think somebody very close was probably there with you.
Las Vegas. So the best one on my side of the U.S. it was Las Vegas. I think it's on wellness with Dr. Free. I love that.
He made you feel free?
Dude, he's amazing. I met him and I was like, man, this guy he's like a Green Beret, man. He's just awesome.
Well, and the cool thing is, like I said, we treat people from all over the world, and it's not always convenient to come here to Maryland to see me. So we do have facilities around the country. Dr. Freeze is one of them. And I've been lucky enough to train each and every one of them. And they are part of the Stem Cell Doc affiliate offices. So for people out there that are saying, I need one near me, all you have to do really is go on the website and you can see all the locations. I'm happy that you chose to come see me this last time around because I thoroughly enjoyed both of you. And I'm so happy for your success and looking forward to seeing you get younger. What people don't know is if you told them your age, you're like 80, right? By your age. But now you're...
I took the first IVs when I was 42, and I'm 43 now, and I feel like 38. And maybe even younger. I feel like if I did another IV, I'd probably be at like 36,
So tell me straight up, has this changed the quality of your life?
In ways I can't really describe, my entire life's been recalibrated. It really has. What I thought was possible before stem cell therapy is now so much lower on the chain of where I feel what I can achieve in my life. Mm-hmm. And that to me, it's unreal that I'm even saying that and that I experienced that, the recalibration of my destiny in my own mind. I'm like, oh my gosh, my goals might need to change because I'm not the same person, completely different.
And I do think it's interesting that you chose those words, quality of life, because I think once people experience this first on the physical level, it sort of travels upward and ascends to the mind and spirit, and the ripple effect of then running all these other things to then match your quality of life with how you feel just starts to happen. Mm-hmm. Whether it's like in home improvements or making different self-care decisions, because it's all now in service to like quality of life and how I certainly have felt from I got multiple injections, so I did pretty well there, and have been.
Tell us your story. I mean, the microphone is yours now.
Yeah, well, I think all I needed was to hear like Daniel's story, like back in April, and I guess I am, even if my family is not so much, I am pretty open to anything, and I just need a good story and to see, and I trust my friends and the advice that I get in life. And um, I apply them, especially if I'm in a financial, place to be able to do it. It's like no question. So I'm in my mid 40s and I started
No.
playing the violin when I was 4 years old. So it's been over 40 years since that has been sort of my trade and where I've been trained. Um, Starting around 12, I became a competitive softball player. So sports and athleticism and performance has basically been part of my life and my identity since I was a child. And then that sort of crosses over into my work now, which is as a corporate executive, music executive, where I don't necessarily play violin so much anymore, and I don't play any sort of team sports. But competition and performance and time management are all through lines with, that have been consistent my whole life. And they are also challenges because while I'm not physically exerting myself on a day-to-day in a corporate work environment, sitting in an office and going from meeting to meeting and, having direct reports and delegating work, there's still a mental toll it takes when I'm like, I have no time to rehabilitate like my injuries, like from decades, and the stress of that wears on you over time. Well, I'm not getting any younger. So how are these things going to heal or get fixed? And if I lift weights, which I really love to do, like powerlifting specifically, which has also been a theme over the 20 years, I might not be doing some things right. And I might be injuring myself some more. So all of that stress compounds as well. So I just needed something else that I hadn't heard. And, it's like, I think if I look back at my knowledge of stem cells or regenerative medicine, like a montage, I don't know anything about it. I might have some recalls, like when people are like, oh, wasn't Ron Reagan Jr. into them? And that was a big thing in the 80s. And maybe all of these decades, we've been paying something into stem cell research that we don't even know about. Like, I just didn't really, I wasn't passionate enough about it to really look into it. And so I think sometimes for people like that, like me, I just need to dive headfirst and then experience it. And like Daniel, I can't even begin to talk about how the immediacy, of the effects, like literally starting day 2. So I have a fully torn rotator, and labral tear in my right shoulder. It's been for over 12 or 13 years. It's the combination of being an outfielder, being a violinist, powerlifting, whatever it is. And then 3 weeks before I saw you, I actually tore my ACL and my MCL in my right knee, both right side injuries, doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu, which I am not good at. So, I should have maybe known better, but I just was able to add a shot. And, I think even my physical therapists at this point, a couple months in, are like, wow, you're really making a lot of progress with this, and it's just getting better every day. And I'm pretty confident that I don't need surgery, and I don't want to get it, Shoulder is a little bit of a different story because I'm going to have to start rehabilitating that next, because I don't know what kinds of muscles were overcompensating for this injury for so long. That there's some further work I need to do on that. But I love that in your treatment protocol, you encourage all of that, whether it's spinal decompression work, acupuncture, massage therapy, chiropractic, physical therapy. We got to do this stuff too, alongside the injections.
You are a very active person. So there's always the thought, can I possibly re-injure myself again? And yes, you can. Life can hurt anybody, even when we transform the body back into what it used to be. So we just have to keep on track. For your shoulder, we might have to do just a little bit more rehabilitation. Revisit this again. Is there a chance that you might need a second shot? Sure. I mean, there's a lot going on in the shoulder, and we treated a few specific areas. So
Yeah.
we're going to keep an eye on it, and we'll watch your progression. And I might be out in California very, very soon.
Yeah.
I have actually a bunch of patients right now that want to see me, and I might be flying out there within the next month.
Yeah. Great.
So probably up in the Sacramento area, and see what we can do out there on the West Coast, you know. But I do love it out there, and have a lot of great friends, and I'd love to hook up with you guys while I'm there. Moving forward, is there anything else that you'd like to say to anybody that might be thinking or considering regenerative medicine?
Well, I think, I know Daniel and I couldn't have more different sort of vocations and how we use our bodies, in my opinion, on a day to day. But when you talk about that, this kind of regenerative medicine and this therapy is not just for professional athletes, like that means something. And when I talk about it to coworkers and just friends and family, we're basically all normies, like that's what it is. It's like, we're corporate workers, we work at nonprofits, we are musicians, and everybody needs it to prolong, what they love doing.
And that's true. I mean, there is no age limit in this. I've treated teenagers because they hurt themselves in high school sports, and I've treated people up into their 90s. So it is for everyone. And if you have an injury, you shouldn't wait. Don't make it worse because, sometimes when you wait, you might end up in surgery, which is not what we want. But yeah, we want to continue to help people all over the world. And it's guys like you who help that by spreading the message. We want to see and help change lives for as long as we can do this. Part of what I do too is not only see patients like you guys, but I also train doctors all over the world. So if there's anybody out there, a doctor that's listening to this, your doctors that might be curious, reach out to us, get on our website and reach out. I'd love to train you in regenerative medicine and be a part of this team of changing lives because it is so far beyond rewarding. I cannot tell you. To look at both of your faces so happy and hear your story, it makes my heart fill up. And that is the reason why I do it. So we'll catch up again soon. And I really appreciate both of you. Do you have anything else you'd like to say?
Oh, man, I just love you so much, brother. You're awesome, man. I was so happy to come and see you. I said, I got to meet this guy.
Yeah, I feel the same, man. I feel the same. I love all my patients. I'm not kidding you. And when I tell people in my treatment room, there's a box of tissues, it's usually not just for the patients. It's usually for me too, because when they get emotional, this big guy here gets emotional too. And it just, I think you can tell that I really love all you guys, and I love my patients, and I really want the best for everyone, and which is why I've kind of changed my whole course of life and passion. It's now stem cells and exosomes all the way because I know what it has the power to do. And we're so used to traditional medicine that it's time for a change. And this is the change. The future is now. It's here. And regenerative medicine is the future. And I think people are finally grasping that, so I appreciate both of you. I can't wait to see you. I'm going to let you know when I'm coming out there by you guys. Yeah. And maybe we can bump into each other.
It's kind of interesting as I've metaphorically become a stem cell myself, and I'm telling everybody about this, like the word of mouth thing. I think the demystifying of whatever anybody's hesitations are is really around the education around what they are, like, because I think a lot of, that might be the controversial subject or topic, but I think it's worth talking about to sort of demystify those things and why, it can be considered controversial or, but it's not, I'm not an expert, so it's probably not a conversation for me.
No, but you're very right. There's a lot of people out there that have a lot of questions, and sometimes their doctors don't have the answers, so education is the biggest thing. So once you educate somebody on this new paradigm shift, it's eye-opening, it's life-changing. And also, Charlene, I know this has changed your life in a way that you're actually trying to get other doctors involved, and maybe you get involved in regenerative medicine also. Is that correct?
It's possible. Like, all I have is myself right now as like a living, walking testament to like that it works. But again, I'm not in the medical profession, but I think what I do have is I'm a connector. So I have a lot of people from different factions of life and career occupations. And maybe I'm at the intersection of just being able to tell people about it. And then something always happens where it's like, oh, I've been thinking about it and I didn't know how to get into it. I don't, so it's like, well, let me help put everybody together. That's what I can do.
Mm-hmm. So, what's funny is I'm going to bring up my dad. My dad's old school from New Jersey. He's one of those, the good old boys, if you know what I mean. And he used to call people like you a facilitator. You are a facilitator, Charlene. Connector is today's word. You're a facilitator. Okay? So keep doing it. Keep doing it. Because what you're going to do, whether you know it or not, you're the little pebble in the pond, and that ripple effect is going to change people's lives. And so you won't even know some of the people's lives you're going to touch, which is so amazing. So both of you, keep spreading the word, keep doing what you're doing. And I really look forward to seeing both of you soon.
Awesome.
Okay. So thanks so much for being on the show, and I will speak to both of you soon.